This is game 4 of the Cornerstone event that we held in Portland, Oregon at the Portland Game Store. At the top of the screen is Steve playing his Druid deck, and at the bottom is Gage also playing his Druid deck. These two decks, pretty similar, I believe. Steve is running a mono fire Druid, and then Gage is running a fire air Druid. So he's got a lot of the same tech in fire as Steve, but he does have some of those air spells, those impactful air spells. I think he's running vampires, probably grapple shots, maybe blinks, and I'm not sure if he's splashing for anything else in that deck. Turn 1, Joyous Guard, summoning Tawny and pass, getting his thresholds in early. Turn 1, for Steve, creating the Forge, creating the Lance, summoning Tawny. Always a strong turn 1 with the Druid, just getting the Lance on the Tawny first turn, getting it in position to be able to strike into something for 2. Is a great place to be, or a great place to start your game at. Gage going to start his second turn here, tapping out for a Ruin, playing to the side, and passing turn. So a conservative second turn from Gage, choosing not to advance forward on the play here and try to meet in the middle immediately. Turn 2 for Steve. It leaves Steve some options. Steve could play to the center to start advancing forward. That would give Gage the option to move forward and meet him in the middle on his third turn, or continue to buy more time and play out to the side. Or Steve could also opt to play conservatively and play to the side, and they would both buy each other more time to get set up with mana base and cards in hand. I think it's unlikely that Steve plays to the side on turn 2 with his deck here. His deck specifically this mono fire Druid. It's less. It's a little less mid range and a little more aggro, so he wants to get up there a little faster if possible. But whether or not he moves forward, he plays Sight forward and then moves Tawny forward is another question. Just because Gage is playing Fire Druid, very likely he has deserts in that deck, and if you extend yourself forward with Tawny like that and then invite a response from your opponent, it's a very real threat that he's going to play a desert turn 3 and then ping Tawny out, and then the Lance is going to drop. So you're going to lose all that potential advantage that you have set yourself up with on turn 1. Steve playing out a desert can't make use of the Genesis. And I would be surprised if he had a turn 2 play here. I think he has a Warhorse and maybe an Imp in his hand. Deciding to move forward with Tawny, which is risky. Like I said, there's a good chance that Gage has a desert that he can play out here. And then playing a Warhorse again, just getting a little greedy on his setup here. He wants to be set up for some strikes, some attacks, if Gage plays into the center. Gage does play into the center, but there's that desert like we talked about. It's going to kill Tawny, drop the lance to the site, and then he's following it up with a Red Cap Powery. Red Cap Powery for 3 mana. Kills the Warhorse at 2 power, and then he picks up the lance. So a great play, a great turn 3 response from Gage there. Just a lot of value on those plays. Steve, turn 3, getting his second desert out, pinging Tawny off the board in return, and then paying 3 for a minor explosion, choosing to just get rid of the those red caps immediately. Which is, yeah, like they're dangerous. If you left them uncontested and didn't have a blocker, I mean, that's 4 points coming out on your next turn, and then they're just going to continue to be a 3-point threat. Passing turn back to Gage. Looks like Gage drew Site for turn. It's a desert, so we're gonna get Tawny pinged off the board again. That is going to happen pretty frequently when you're playing against a Druid with a fire, leaning into fire as one of their main elements. That is also one of the reasons why deserts are very powerful against a Druid matchup. Just being able to ping off that Tawny token is strong. Gage playing an early-ish Morgana Le Fay. So Morgana comes in with stealth, draws a hand of 3 cards. Tucked away in that back row is pretty convenient there. And Steve, unfortunately, already spending a minor explosion to take care of the red caps. Minor explosion would be a good tool to help take care of Morgana through stealth, if possible. He's not in super good positioning, even if he had a minor explosion in his hand. It looks like he does. He has another minor explosion in his hand, but he's not in position to be able to tag Morgana, even with Tawny. Just no matter where he played that next site, he would be just outside of the 2-step range of the spell from Tawny. In order to get Morgana, which is unfortunate to get Morgana's sight. 4 mana for turn from Steve. I think he's looking at it. I mean, he probably sees the same thing during this game. He wishes he could get within range to get that minor explosion off on Morgana before Gage has a chance to start casting the spells. But he's just gonna be a turn 2 late there. He's gonna get at least 1 spell off from Morgana's hand next turn, likely. Steve playing his own red caps, picking up that lance, and then striking the site for 4 points in. Passing turn. Gage, it looked like Gage drew a site for turn here on turn 5. Currently sitting with 4 mana in his mana pool. And again, he has that hand of 3 cards from Morgana that he can draw from, as well as his own player hand. I think what he just picked up was the 3 card hand from Morgana he's looking at. Unfortunately, that's all off screen, so we can't quite see what's in there. But I think highly likely he plays at least 1 spell from Morgana's hand to get that value out of it. Definitely he needs to do that before next turn. He's playing on a lone tower. Again, that is the special alt art from the Crossroad events this year in 2025. Most hosted at SCG cons. Steve spying the promo. It is a pretty cool alternate artwork, and it is pretty exclusive just because you have to have traveled to one of those conventions to get them. That is the only way to get them at this point in time. Ramping mana there, so he's looking at six mana for this turn, which is a lot of mana to play with. Trinket on Tawny, attacking for 2 points of damage. Morgana interacts with the realm, which casts the spell, drops Stealth. With 5 mana left, casts Dapperel Vampire. Dapperel, always a pretty scary threat when it lands. It's just like the life swing with the life gain off of the vampire is always huge. They're asking for clarification really quick. The Torse Hammer was cast from Morgana's hand, and they're just double checking like when it bounces back at end of turn, if it bounces back to Morgana's hand or if it bounces back to the player's hand. And the answer is it bounces back to the player's hand. So just some additional value that Gage is getting off of Morgana at this point. I think he was considering doing a move to reposition Morgana, but at that point he thought better of it. He changed his mind at the end there. Turn pass back to Steve. Steve is moving, burning an Immolate early to get rid of the vampire. He just does not want to deal with that at this point in the game at all. And yeah, the vampire for 3. And then minor explosion to remove the Morgana. Attacking with 3 again with his red caps and to round out his turn there. It looks like the last card in Morgana's hand was a Firebolt, so it was probably a good choice to go ahead and just get rid of that piece off of the board, since he could on that turn. Gage drawing a spell for turn here. I believe this is his turn 6. 5 mana in his mana pool. His Tawny is still on the board. He's doing a flip. He's doing an early flip to get Brune. Minor explosion to clear out Steve's minions. And a trinket onto Tawny, attacking for 2 points in. Early flip against another druid, it has the advantage that it limits where Tawny can come in. Just because you can't fly into a site or enter a site nearby that flip druid, or you're going to take 1 point of damage. It does somewhat feel like you pull the ripcord a little bit early when you do a flip like that. Steve tapping for Funeral Pyre. They're just deciding on some banish targets from the cemetery. I don't think it super matters. I don't think that Gage in this deck especially has any way to do some recursion out of the cemetery. But they're going through that anyways, just in case. Gage pointing out that Tawny will die when it summons, and Gage graciously letting Steve do a reposition. So they're repositioning that. Steve taking out, playing a Violimp to take out Gage's Tawny, and that's it for Tawny for this game for Gage, since he has now flipped the Druid. So any new sites he manages to play will not summon that token. So flipping the Druid early to get Brune, and the damage effect also locks him out of having that resource, having that spellcaster flying around for the rest of the game. Gage tapping for a sight, probably just by virtue of not having anything else that he wants to do with his avatar on the turn. Five mana for Hounds of Ondaros. 4 power minion. Ton of keyword abilities, just ultra mobility with that one. When I say ultra mobility, I mean like it doesn't have any movement +1 abilities to extend its reach, but it has like all of the keyword abilities to allow it to get virtually anywhere in the realm possible. So Void Walk, Submerge, Burrow, Airborne. And then it also has an ability that allows it to see through stealth, which may or may not come into play in this game. Gage moving Bruin up 1 step and then passing turn. Steve drawing a spell for turn. He does. I mean, he had some decent momentum. He has had some decent momentum this game. He did apply enough pressure to force Gage to want to flip early. He just needs to find a way to keep that pressure going here. So staring down Bruin for 4 power there. Staring at the Hounds for 4 power. And he's got Tawny there. It's what he can do with Tawny this turn is somewhat limited in terms of attacking. He looks like he has a monstrous lion in his hand. He's going to spend that to remove Bruin, so remove that piece from the board, that bodyguard. Attacking with the Violent for 2 points of damage. Just going to continue to chip away at him here. Tapping the Druid for a sight. And then Tawny can't really attack into Gage's Desert just because the Hounds can get a free, like basically a free block and kill Tawny with that. So better to just take a reposition if he wants to take a reposition. I think that's really the only place he could have taken it anyways, just because the Druid is flipped. Tawny can't enter to attack that desert anyways, because it would take a point of damage when entering the site. I guess it doesn't really matter. The Hounds, I think the Hounds have Airborne, so they can they could move and attack Tawny anyways if he wanted to, but he's got a desert to ping it off anyways. 1 for a Torse Hammer Trinket onto the Hounds, attacking into the Funeral Pyre for 5. The Hounds a little dangerous for Steve here, and a Monstrous Lion coming out to remove the Vile Imp. So Gage stabilizing the board state pretty well here. He's got 2 threats on the board and a Torse Hammer in his hand. The Lion cannot attack a site, it can only attack units. However, at a bare minimum, if the Hounds are left uncontested, that's another 5 points coming in per turn, and Steve's health now at 13. It is limiting. It is putting a time turner, a time turn on Steve. Tawny comes in. Tawny again can't defend, so he it's not like he can use that as a chump blocker. but he's using it as a point of origin for fire breathing. So spending a fire breathing to remove the Hounds of Underos, which is probably a pretty good play for Steve. Just you want to get rid. I mean, you want to get rid of that piece. You can't let him continue to swing in on you for 5. The Lion has probably one more turn before it can get to him. He's just moving up. He can't attack the site, but he's getting into position, so he is ready to attack Steve's avatar on the next turn here. 5 for another Death Roll Vampire. Gage drawing into and being able to play out a second vampire for the game here. And again, like this is where the vampire starts to become like the most dangerous, because if you can't remove that, you can't deal with it. Like his life is just going to start ticking up each turn, and Steve's is going to start ticking down each turn. And if you think about like an uncontested vampire strike, that's like an 8-point swing in the game, right? Your opponent loses 4 health and you gain 4 health, which is huge, especially for Gage now at 11 health. If he gets just one strike in, with the vampire, that takes him back up to 15, which is a much better place to be in. Steve playing a pact with the devil, which great card for him to have now, just digging for some answers here. I don't see any like hard removal here for the vampire. It would have been great. I think he's running disintegrates, and to disintegrate to be able to take care of the vampire would be huge. He also still has to deal with this lion who's going to swing in here imminently. Thinking about his placements on that forge. Resummoning Tawny. He's double checking his mana on whether or not he wants to pay the 1 for the lance. He is paying 1 for the lance. That leaves him with 2 left for the turn. And that's all he has with it. Passing turn back. I think I see an infiltrate in Steve's hand. I don't know if he just drew into that or not, but if he has that, I'd imagine that he would infiltrate this vampire to take that piece out here, but not before the vampire is going to get at least 1 strike in on this turn. Gage playing an Updraft Ridge, Highland Princess, for a search for an artifact of 1 cost or less. And I believe he's probably searching for a Ring of Morgan. I don't think he revealed it. I think technically you're supposed to reveal it and then put it into your hand, so your opponent knows what you've searched. Ascalon Phoenix for 5 mana, and then smacking in for 8 points of damage on this turn. So taking Steve down within the danger zone for Door here. I mean, if he leaves the Monstrous Lion uncontested, Gage still has that trinket in hand, so that's enough to just bring him to Door. Steve in a pretty bad position. Sitting with a healthy amount of mana here. We got 7 mana in his mana pool for turn. Tawny holding a lance. Tawny is holding a lance. He's got that infiltrate, but no matter what he infiltrates, like the better choice obviously would be the vampire. The infiltrate does tap the target when it goes off, however, so that doesn't give him enough time to react to an attack coming in from the monstrous lion, and he would need a blocker to be able to save himself here. I don't think he untapped his druid. I think his druid is untapped for turn right now. He hasn't flipped the druid yet, so he could flip for Brunch. And then, like, peeking out of his hand just now, I think I see a Drums of Doom. Drums of Doom costs 5. Drums of Doom makes all damage nearby lethal. Gage showing the artifact that he searched from Highland Princess, because they realized that he forgot to do that when he fished that out of the deck. So they're going to do that. And technically, the card is worded that way so you can prove that you're actually searching for a legal card, because there are restrictions on what card is being fished out of your library, and if you do that in secret, then your opponent has no way of knowing. There's the Drums of Doom coming out. Drums of Doom, like a huge play for Steve here. It looks like he moved Tawny. It looks like he moved Tawny up to the center of the field here. And I think it would have been a stronger move to relayer this, where he plays drums first and then strikes either the vampire or the lion. Probably the vampire. Like, he move up and strike the vampire. Tawny strikes first. It does lethal, and it would kill the vampire, leave Tawny alive, and then he would still have the monstrous lion to deal with. So unless he had another spell in hand for 2 mana that could deal with it, which it doesn't look like he does, I think it makes sense to just flip Druid at that point, get Brunch out, force. I guess it wouldn't even it's not going to force a trade, because Gage still has that trinket in his hand.
I played it out of order, and I'm going to ask if I can take it back.
Steve realizing he made a mistake here. So I think, yeah, Steve just kind of saying that he should have relayered the way that he's done this, these plays on his turn here, and then kind of just not I think asking Gage if he wants to do a rollback, but Steve just advising him that in a tournament setting he should probably just say no, I guess. So I think Steve just taking his lumps there on that misordering, but he is going to go ahead and flip. So flipping will get him Brunch. And I think that's it, unless he has another two play. And then he's I think that's a play. I think that's a play mistake there. He's flipping Brunch, and then he's also tapping to draw a sight. So I think he's just forgetting in the moment that to flip Brunch, you tap, or to flip the Druid, you tap. That's a tap activated paid for ability. And so once it's tapped, then you can't also use the tap ability to draw a sight. I don't think it has a super. I don't think it's super impactful for this game. I don't think getting that sight in hand really mattered for Steve, or we're going to see that it really matters for Steve here. Gage taking a step forward, just trying to box in Steve now, because now we have entered into an in-game run here. Tawny also in just a really bad position now that Gage has taken a step up. It can't move anywhere, so even if it wanted to strike the lion or the vampire, it can't. Gage attacking in for door. 4 points. 4 points from the vampire, 1 point from the Highland Princess. Paying 1 for a trinket on the lion and trying to swing into Bruin. The drums makes everything lethal damage though, so they're gonna trade, and then both die. So Bruin off the table now. Monstrous Lion off the table now. Passing turn to Steve. Steve still has that infiltrate in hand. It's like now or never is the time to go ahead and play that. Choosing to play out of sight, I think it would have been better to maybe do a reposition, just to make it harder for him to get to. Trying to attack in with Tawny, I think they both forget the drums, or that he's within the flipped aura of Gage's Druid, and so Tawny can't make that play. It doesn't look like they catch that though, or maybe they'll realize it. It's at the end here. Drums does make it difficult for Steve to get in there and do that final point. At the very least, he can continue advancing forward with his own Druid, and he's eventually going to corner Steve to a point where he can't move, and he'll, at the very least, be able to get smacked by Gage's Druid. But there is also just the possibility that Gage has any number of fire kill spells either in his hand or that he can draw into here. Yeah, Steve playing a Saracen for 3 points of damage and getting that infiltrate off on that Phoenix on the back end there. But Gage with the grapple shot in to end this game. So a couple of mistakes there. I don't think it affected the outcome too much. That's the end of round 4, and we'll move on to game 5 here.
There was a lot of back and forth for sure. But yeah, I debated. I also